Hi everybody, welcome today for this Meta's Marketing API webinar. We're going to discuss from insights to impact using Meta's API to elevate campaign performance. My name is Lars. I'm one of the co-founders of Maatwerk Online, Dutch digital AC in Rotterdam. Next to me is Bianca.
Hello, nice to meet you.
You can introduce yourself.
My name is Bianca and I am an online marketing specialist at Maatwerk Online, working almost 7.5 years at the agency, and I'm working in paid search and paid social. And last thing is the thing where we're going to talk about today.
Yes, and maybe before we start, we decided to host this webinar about Meta's Marketing API.
Yes.
Why the Meta's Marketing API? Because I think it's not a subject that a lot of paid social advertisers are using at the moment, or they are not talking about.
It's a topic that a lot of people are not talking about, and I think most of the advertisers aren't using it at this point. Maybe if you're working at a very large company, then you do, or if you're using certain tools, then it's implemented as well. But as a paid marketing specialist, I think when you're looking for ways to go a bit more advanced, to get more data out of the platforms, or how to evolve your campaigns that you're already running, this is something that you should be diving into because it's really worthwhile to do.
Okay, nice. My role for today is basically making sure that Bianca is shining. She will be hosting the presentation. You can ask questions in the chat, and I will ask them to Bianca during the presentation. I'm just curious before we start. Are you also going to show how you are using the API?
I'm going to tell you how you should use it and how we do.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, let's start. And the first one is the question for the audience. Are you already working with Meta's Marketing API? So you could fill in your answer below. So let's wait a few seconds so people could give an answer.
I see a few do.
50-50 at the moment.
Really nice. Well,
did you expect that? It's literally 50% is saying, yes, we are using Meta's Marketing API. 50% is saying, no, we are not using it.
I did not expect that 50% was using it, but I'm also not very surprised at the same time. So okay. It's 50-50 for me too.
Okay. Okay. Let's dive in.
Let's get started. So one of the main reasons why we started this webinar and the whole idea behind it was a few years ago, we started with meta ads for a lot of our clients, and the system got improved. A lot of developments were playing around, so the whole system evolved. And the last 2 years, with the upcoming of AI, a lot of things are just starting to feel like a black box. You're not having all the information you would like to get, maybe, and it's pretty hard for us as marketers to get all insights on what is performing and what's not. So from an article that I saw about the Meta Marketing API, I was pretty excited to see what is this pretty shiny thing and how could we use it. So I started playing around, and then I totally learned that you should start looking for optimizations outside of the user interface, because there's much more the system knows, but it's not showing in the user interface to just make it more user-friendly. But it doesn't mean that the data is not there. So what are the ways to look outside of the user interface? And the Meta Marketing API is one of them. So let's see why this is important and what you can get out of it. The Ads Manager is providing limited data and insights regarding your performance. And like I said, that's not because the data is not there, but the system is also there to make it user-friendly and for marketers that are just starting, easy to use. But if you're an advanced marketer playing around in this environment for a longer period of time, then you could have the feeling that there's more to work with. Another thing is missed data means missed opportunities. Feels like an open door, but if you're not knowing all of the facts, then you cannot make all the right conclusions, can't you? And last but not least, if you're using the Meta Marketing API, it does unlock insights that you wouldn't have in another way. And it's also able to apply advanced automations that just save you a lot of time. So for today, there are a few things we're going to discuss. First, what is the Meta Marketing API? A lot of our attendees mentioned that they are not familiar with the use of the Marketing API, so a bit of an introduction is in place. Insights from what can you actually get from the API, what can you use it for, how to create API calls, because otherwise you will not have any out of it, and a step-by-step guide. So after this webinar, you will be free to go and run and play around with this shiny thing. So let's get started. What is the Meta Marketing API? Well, actually, you have two versions of the API. One is the Marketing API, and the other one is the Insights API. And they can be used for different things. The Marketing API is mostly used for campaign management and optimization, and the Insights API is used for reporting and analytical insights. So it's really important to identify which one you want to use. And if you're using advanced tools such as Hunch or Smartly, or maybe an advertising platform where you can run your campaigns, then they are using the Marketing API in order to publish data into Ads Manager without being in Ads Manager at the moment. The other one, for the Insights API, you're able to extract certain data that you cannot see in the Ads Manager, or you can just play an advanced layer out of it. So if we're summing up all of the things that we can do with both of the APIs, then it's quite a list. So we're mentioning just the most important ones. For the Marketing API, you can create and modify campaign, as I mentioned. You can do it from tools, but you can also connect spreadsheets or things like that to upload certain campaigns, ad sets, or things like that. You can retrieve and update or remove products from your catalog. You can access detailed product level performance data, and you can run automated A/B tests and experiments for optimization purposes. So that sounds pretty nice. But besides that, we also have the Insights API. And with the Insights API, you're able to retrieve data such as ROAS, CTR, conversions, and more. You can view insights on age, gender, location, and other demographics, but also audience data. You can analyze engagement and reach for both paid and organic campaigns. So if you're working for a company or clients that are also very active on the organic side of Meta, then you're also able to extract that data and combine it with your advertising. So you can just see the differences, but also create a holistic approach for both of the information you do.
Just to be sure, because when I'm looking at both of these lists, I get the feeling that this is already possible in the interface. But you were mentioning that with the API access, you get a lot more data available.
Exactly. Like you see, if you're working for pretty large accounts, then you will not be able to do it all manually in the user interface.
And then what is it large in terms of spend, or in terms of
number
products
of
in the catalog?
campaigns
Okay,
or
number of
products.
campaigns.
It can be several things. If you're using a lot of different ads, if you're using a lot of campaigns, for example, you're running maybe 5 till 10 campaigns a month differently, then it's easier to do it automated in an API than if you're manually uploading everything. So partly you're able to do it from the user interface, but if you're wanting to retrieve insights for data that we're going to talk about later in this webinar, then you will have a certain layer where you can get the data from in the Ads Manager, but you will, in the Insights API, you were able to add more breakdowns, which you cannot do in the user interface.
Yes, makes sense.
And last but not least, you are able to compare performance data over different time periods and automate it as well. So let's dive in the product level performance. Imagine this, and if you're an advertiser, I think it's pretty familiar, especially if you're working for an agency. You're running a DPA campaign with 2,000 products for a fashion brand. The ROAS of the campaign is 3.8. Sounds great, right? I mean, it's okay if it's the target for the client in terms of ROAS, but if you're diving into the campaign, and especially if you're running DPAs, then you're pretty blindfolded, because how are you able to optimize this campaign further? Is there a specific product group that has a higher ROAS or maybe lower that you want to optimize? And that's actually where you get stuck in the user interface, because that's just the data you have and where you have to work with. So what actually happens a lot is if you're diving deeper in the data, you'll see that maybe 50% of the spend is going to products that are barely getting sold. And 30 products have a pretty great ROAS of 6, but you do not have the control to get those products more budget. So I think that's a struggle that we all are familiar with. But if you're working with the Insights API, with the Meta Marketing API, you're able to actually do something about this. And when I learned that this was actually my face, and maybe this is my face multiple times a day when I'm in the office right here. So we're going to help you out with that. Because what kind of metrics can you get on product level? And product level is a breakdown that I'm using pretty often in the Meta Marketing API, because that's something that you cannot break down on the Meta Ads interface.
Maybe somebody is asking, what is a DPA? Maybe you could elaborate on that one.
Yes, of course. DPA stands for Dynamic Product Ads. So you're connecting a catalog to Meta, and it's just advertising the products. You might recognize them with the white background products ads that you see in the feeds as a single image or a catalog.
Yeah. So what we are talking about today is purely for e-commerce.
It's not only for e-commerce. That's what a lot of people are thinking, but it's for catalog ads. But a catalog ads can exist for of products, but also for hotels, accommodations, cars.
Vacancies. Yeah.
Okay. To get through all of the metrics, it's a lot. Actually, all metrics that exist in Meta are able to extract from the Meta Marketing API. And just by adding breakdowns on ad level and product ID level, then you're able to extract this kind of data and add it in a spreadsheet or in a dashboard. So you can also analyze trend lines per product, category, or brand. So I think that's pretty cool. And I think most important thing, if you're looking for more data, is also thinking of a way how to make it actionable, and why do you want to get that data, and what are you going to do with it. So what I'm doing with the data that we get from the Meta Marketing API is using it to create performance reports based on SKU level, so product level, but also on brand and category level to identify trends. Are certain brands not performing pretty well anymore? Can I find the reason behind it? Especially when you're advertising for clients with more than a few hundred or a few thousand products, then it's harder to identify certain changes that certainly happens. Maybe your brand is out of stock, or they had a price increase and is not that interesting anymore compared to competitors. Then it's pretty good if you're able to identify those changes early. At the same time, we can identify segments to create new product sets. So we really have to control and not only pushing all of the products in one product set or divide it based on gut feeling. And you're able to keep on testing and experimenting with different product sets and different setups. And at the same time, automating this process may lead to the fact that we are not spending that much time on analysis and putting all the data together, but just let it go with flow and learn from everything that comes out of it. What are the things that you actually need? And it's not that much. You do need a business manager and an ad account, and obviously a catalog. You do have access to the Meta Marketing API and the developers portal. And that sounds maybe a bit fancy, but it's just there. And if you're having a Meta account, then you just go to developers portal and you're there. So that's just it.
Is this something that you're going to show later on today?
It's in the slides. Okay. And the last thing is an access token with the right permissions. And when you're creating an app, which we're going to show you later on, then it's just a matter of fact of selecting the boxes. And if you have those three, then you're ready to go. The good news is that you do not have to be a developer or have any development skills. That's not my strength, so I'm able to do this too. Just diving in the possibilities that there are, researching on the internet using ChatGPT, and you will be pretty much able to do everything. And that's what makes us very happy, obviously. But first things first, how do you actually create an API call to extract certain data? Because that's what we wanted to do. You do not have to be a developer, but I can recognize that a few words and methods sounds maybe a bit fake. It doesn't have to be that way. So we're going to show you what you need to know, and I hope it's pretty good to read and to see. But an API call is not more than the text that you see on the screen right now. And the highlighted get is what we call an HTTP method. You have a get, but you can also push data to Meta. And in this case, we're trying to retrieve data. So we're using get. And it's just a drop-down that you can select. And it's not more or less than that.
Maybe good to elaborate on the URL that we are seeing on screen right now.
Yes.
Within the brackets is saying add account ID and access token. People need to replace that with the things that we
exactly.
are.
Yeah. Okay. The second thing is using the endpoint, which in this case is insights. Otherwise, we also have marketing API to push data, but in this case, we're just trying to get more data out of the API. Then we do have a long string with a lot of parameters. In this case, we're using fields such as product ID, impressions, clicks, website purchases, like every metric that you want to add, but also the time range that you want the data from and the access token of the account. And this is a string that you put into the API, Graph API Explorer, and then you'll get the data out of the whole system, which we will show you step by step. So do not worry, but this is how the, the anatomy of an API call looks like. And if we're deep diving a bit further to better understand every parameter that you can use in an API call, the fields, as we have seen in the previous slide, exist of the metrics that you want to retrieve. And you can choose all metrics that are available within Meta. So you can play around with that as well. And we have used clicks, impressions, ROAS, just things like that. The second one is the breakdowns, and that's how you want to segment the data. Maybe on product ID or device, age, brand, category, every dimension like those. The time range, I think that's pretty easy. The level, also very important. Do you want to get the data on campaign level, ad set, or on ad level? If you're making an API call for DPAs, then it would be ad level, just to make sure. And the last one is the access token, which you can get when you create an app. And that's one of the next steps that we're going to do.
I've got already 2 people asking, how do I get access to my access token? So,
well, we will get to that. First things first, we cannot create an API call without an app. So we are going to create an app. And to create an app, you're going to your business manager. And in the left menu, you will have under accounts, the section apps. And you click on the blue button to create a new app. It's as easy as that is. When you're creating the app, you will go to the app dashboard. And there are a few things that you need to see. On the left side, you see products. And there we will need to add the marketing API. And you can just click on that product and make sure to add the marketing API. There are a few steps that you need to go through, such as naming conventions and your business information. And after you've went through those steps, you can click on development mode to live mode in order to put your app live and you're ready to use. Good to know, it's not an app like an app for your phone or anything, but just an app to create API calls from for Meta. On the second hand, it's very helpful to already copy your ad account ID and your commerce account ID, which you can do from your business manager and also from the web address that you're in. Put them in your notes so you have them by hand. It will not be necessary to create lots of extra tabs on your browser. You will mainly use the ad account ID, but in some cases you'll need your commerce account, so just have it in place. Then you can go to the API Graph Explorer, which will be available from the developers portal, or you just click in your browser, Graph API Explorer, and you will get there as well. In the second slide, it will be a bit bigger, so that's easier to see. When you're in your app opening the Graph API Explorer, there are a few things that you will need to do. The first one is selecting the app, which we have just created. You will select your user token, and on the upper blue button, you can access your access token. And you'll see the permissions that you'll have to select. And we have to drop down where you'll see 3 options selected. You will select Ads Read, Ads Management Read, and Catalog Management in order to extract the data from your ad account. And in the upper place, we will see the structure of the API call, which we have mentioned before. We will go a bit deeper into that in the next slide.
And for the people in the audience, in the chat, I just posted the URL for the Graph API Explorer, so you don't have to Google it yourself.
We've seen the anatomy of the API call in previous slides, but here we're seeing it again, how it looks like in the API Graph Explorer. And first, we see the HTTP method get. We want to get data from the Meta Marketing API. This data is already put in place. And then we start with the ad account ID, which we have copied in our notes. We want to get insights. And then we're starting with the string of the parameters that we want to get out of the API. In this case, product ID, impressions, clicks, spend, conversion, CTR, ROAS on ad level. And we want to add a breakdown on product ID. We have selected the time range. And last but not least, we're copying the access token for our account. Then we click on Submit, and we will get a lot of data, depending on the ad account, of course. In this case, we have some sample data of the metrics that we have just put in the API call. And this is just a basic export, but it's easy to understand that you can add as much metrics as you'd like. Same for the breakdowns that you want to see or want to investigate. And first things when we were doing this for one of our clients for the first time is just seeing how does the data look like? Is this anything we can work with? And just playing around a bit to see what is the data that we're actually wanting to use for the next steps for this account. If we are happy with the things that we are seeing, we're deciding what we're going to use, and then we're putting it into a spreadsheet, which is the next step. You can do that manually, but we are marketers and we do not like manual tasks. So it's easier to automate the system, and that's easy to do with app scripts. And that may sound a bit scary if you've never done that before. For me, same thing, but my best friend ChatGPT helped me around, and that works. So don't be shy or don't hesitate to start playing around with that. You click on app scripts. In collaboration with ChatGPT, you can create a script that you will use to get the data from the Meta Marketing API with the data that we have just implemented in the API call. Make sure that you do a dry run to see, does the connection work? Do we have the access that we need? And is the data coming in the spreadsheet in the way that I wanted it to have? After that, you can select a frequency where you want to update the spreadsheet, so you can use it for dashboarding or use as a supplementary feed or just for your own optimization, whatever you'd like. Make sure that you do add a trigger for daily updates, otherwise your automation is not automating anything. Make sure you do a pre-run to make sure that there are not any errors in your script or the connection in between. And make sure that if you want to use your spreadsheet as a supplementary feed in Meta itself or in a feed optimization tool like Actionable or Data Feed Watch, make sure to publish it online so they're able to get the data out of it. For the people who have never added supplementary feed into Meta, you can go to your catalog manager and then to sources. And besides the base source, you can add a supplementary feed and you'll apply the URL of the spreadsheet that we've just created. And if you're using a certain tool like actionable, then you create a second import where they do the same thing. And then we have the data from Meta on product level. We have connected it to our catalog, and then we're able to create different product sets. And that's the thing that I've been testing around with the last couple of months, which is pretty interesting because mostly if you're a PPC specialist working in Google Ads, then you're pretty familiar with the bucketing method for your high performers, low performers, and things like that. But I noticed that for social advertising, that wasn't really happening. But you're actually able to do the exact same thing. Connecting data from Meta and connecting data from your web shop into your product sets is just gold, and everything you can do with that. So what we did is use the data from Meta to create different product sets, such as top performers, products that have been recently added but didn't get that much data. If you're just having a catalog campaign running, then you'll see that certain products are getting most of the budget, but new products were not getting from the ground, for example. So with a specific product set for the new products, you will be able to let them get some data too. Products that have a high number of add to carts but low in sales, and products that are actually sleeping. Like I mentioned in the example, maybe there 50% of your budget is going to products that are not getting any sales, or they have some impressions, do not cost a lot of money, but they're just vaguely in the whole product set. If you're playing around with the data, I'm pretty sure you will get some ideas for product sets to create. So that's my recommendation as well. Play around and see what combinations do work and where you get some products in. I think that sounds pretty exciting, doesn't
it? It does. It raises a lot of questions as well, I see. Maybe just a few questions up front, because now we are like deep dive in the topic. Somebody's asking, why do you need a supplementary feed? What's the benefit of using that in your campaign? Don't you have the data already in your spreadsheet?
Yeah, you have the data in your spreadsheet, but in order to be able to create product sets, you do need to add it in your supplementary feed. And when I go back a few slides, when you create a product set, you are able to create product sets based on feed data, such as brands, categories, and such as that, but you do not have any performance data. So you cannot create product sets based on the number of impressions that a product actually have, or how many times a product is sold, or the revenue that a product has received in a certain period of time.
Yeah, so you really need the supplementary feed in order to
use that data, use the performance data.
Okay. And another question which was asked a couple of slides back, where can I find a list of fields I can put in the API call?
Actually, all metrics are available to use in the API call. So what you can do is open Ads Manager and just go to columns and see all of the metrics that are available there. The only difference is that in the Meta Marketing API, you're able to add more breakdowns.
Okay.
So that's how I would use it. Or ask ChatGPT to create a list.
If this raises another question, feel free to ask, of course. Last question for now. You said you don't need to be a developer in order to do this, but you do need to know some stuff about API calls, HTTP method, etc. How do you get familiar with those? I think you already mentioned. Your buddy ChatGPT.
Use ChatGPT and just Google the things that you see for the first time. I'm definitely not a developer. Sometimes I will ask developers here in the office, what does this mean? But also a simple search query to see what it actually means, where it's used for. And then writing a whole API call out of myself, I will never do that. I will just use the information I have and ask ChatGPT to get it for me.
Okay. And then another question. This one is actually coming from me. You were talking about the Google App Script, which you use to, I think, communicate the API with the data.
Yeah.
I've got some experience with app scripts as well, but I let them write by AI as well. I actually use Cursor instead of ChatGPT. Do you have experience with that as well?
I'm using almost the same thing. I'm creating these scripts with ChatGPT, but I'm not using Cursor for anything at this point.
Okay.
But just to automate the data and not doing the whole thing manually.
Okay. So maybe for the audience, if you are using AI for scripting or stuff like that, Cursor is another way to use it instead of ChatGPT. Yeah, let's continue.
Yep. Like I said, this sounds pretty interesting and pretty exciting. And I hope the last few slides have inspired you to play around with the Meta Marketing API and see how it could help you to improve your campaigns. But there's more. And there's more that we're not going to discuss in this webinar. But as we got so excited from all of the opportunities that the Meta Marketing API has and what we've learned in such a short period of time, makes it we are working on something new. Because we are launching a few more sessions regarding the Meta Marketing API and how you could actually use it, not only through a webinar, but actually on hand, on demand, sharing our screen and actually walk through every step that you need to go through. A few of the sessions are mentioned in the current slides. If you're working for a company or if you're working for an agency, working for several clients that are having lots of ads running at the same time, it will help you to identify creative insights and what is performing and what's not on a very easy hand. Also, several breakdown combinations for analysis and optimizations that you could use. What are the most common combinations that you can get and what breakdowns can you use that you cannot find in Ads Manager that are really helpful? How to identify the audience overlap. I think that's something that a lot of marketers are dealing with, especially with a lot of Advantage Plus campaigns. How is that actually using and how can you run several campaigns at the same time without having the audience overlap? Certain ad diagnostics, if you're working on multiple accounts, how you can make cross-account and campaign analysis without spending too much time on this part. And obviously a cheat sheet with all of the API calls that we are using a lot of times. So if this is something that you would really have access to, make sure to put your information on the button that you see on the screen right now.
Yeah, and we were actually so excited about this that, as you can see, we decided to put in the text, click on the bottom instead of button, but you probably get the idea. Slightly used, one simple mistake.
Yeah, well, do not worry. And I'm really curious if there are any more questions for the webinar at this point.
We actually got one more question, and it is, in order to use this, does the client where you want to use this for, is server-side tracking required in order to use this?
No, it's not required because you're using data from the Meta interface actually, or actually the Meta system. You do not need any website data in order to do this.
Okay, then I think this is it for now. I'm not seeing any more questions so far. So again, thanks for joining. Feel free to leave your information at the bottom below if you want access to all the geeky stuff.
Yeah.
I would like to say we are soon launching. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to one of us on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Thank you.